Hi everybody, this is Emily, or aka Millie, from Andersmillknits podcast, and I was tagged for a challenge. So Simplystashless, or Karen, from the Simplystashless blog and podcast, has challenged me to answer 25, I believe, questions under the hashtag FiberArts tag. And so I pulled up the questions on her blogs, and I have literally not read through any of them, so we're going on the fly, and I am going to answer these questions. So the first question is, who are you? Well, I kind of answered that just a second ago. I'm Emily. I'm aka Millie on Ravelry and aka Millie907 on Instagram. And I am a counselor and a behavioral consultant, and I'm working with the senior adult population in the Oregon area, and I love my job. I recently celebrated my first year anniversary with my beloved husband, and let's see, I'm an Alaskan girl, and I'm chubby, and I'm diabetic. So those I think are my who am I things. I'm a dog lover, I'm a walker lover, and The second question is, when or why did you start knitting, crocheting, spinning, or weaving? So I'm a knitter with a capital K, usually, and I have done crocheting, spinning, weaving. Crochet and weaving, not my forte. I do still have a 32-inch rigid heddle loom back home in Alaska, but I don't know that I'll ever use it again. I started knitting, honestly, when I was a little girl. My mom taught me how to knit off and on, and my mom always loved the idea of knitting, but she was never really one to follow through with it. I don't know if she gets bored with it, or she just has other pursuits, like she draws and paints, she writes, she just has a lot of other, and she's constantly learning languages, and so she has a lot of other pursuits that interest her more. She's a more cognitive thinker, and I'm a more expressive arts thinker. So she taught me when I was about 8. I never really stuck, but then on my mission, I was a missionary for the LDS Church, and I was in Elko, Nevada at the time, and I met this wonderful woman from New Zealand. She was Maori, and she was also blind, and she taught me to knit. And so to knit, especially to knit without looking, just to feel the textile. And then I came home. I didn't have a lot of opportunities on my mission to knit because, as a missionary, I didn't exactly have money. So when I got home, I made a new friend, and she happened to be knitting felted hedgehogs for all of her nieces, and just for fun, period. I don't even know who else she was knitting them for anymore. But I thought, whoa, how fun, because she was using some fun fur, and the whole project was just so interesting and intricate and yet easy. And I just loved it. I think I made somewhere around 11 hedgehogs, and I haven't stopped, and I've never put down my needles since. So, and I taught myself how to spin about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm not great at it. I'm totally off the seat of my, what do they call it? Off my cuff, kind of a spinner. And I was having trouble spinning using the traditional treadle wheels because I have a bum leg. I'm a cancer survivor, and I don't have any muscle. That my outer thigh muscle on my right leg has been removed, and along with a lot of cartilage and all that kind of stuff. So my right leg hurts a lot, and especially that treadle movement of the traditional wheels, that really aggravated it. So I was getting really frustrated because I loved the act of spinning, but I couldn't do it for very long. So I wasn't making much progress. I wasn't learning. And then for Valentine's Day last year, my husband bought me an e-spinner. And I don't show it very often on the podcast, but I do try to spin at least once a week. I've been failing at that a lot lately, but you know, there hasn't been much progress to show, so I don't really show that on my podcast very often. So anyway, so that's about me and that. My throat's already hurting, and I didn't bring any water in. So my favorite product to make. So I am a huge sock knitter and shawl knitter. So, wait, your favorite projects you've made, or is it just the things that I like to make? So I'm going to assume it's the things I like to make. Like I said, I'm a huge sock and shawl knitter. I love shawls and I love hand knit socks. I love giving both of those things away. I think they're so versatile, at least the shawls are, and they keep you warm so well. I have a tendency to get either really hot or really warm right around my neck area, and it's either one or the other. And my feet are always frozen, so which I actually kind of prefer, but hand knit socks seem to regulate my temperature a little bit better, so I prefer to wear those. So, and my preferred socks are just plain socks with the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I don't do anything fancy usually, because I don't know, it's more of a comfort knit than it is to show off. I've tried doing a couple sock pairs that are more fancy, that have lace and cables in them, and for the most part those just frustrate me. So, and as for shawls, I love texture in shawls. So the Azlite shawl is one of my all-time favorite shawls. The Pebble Beach shawl from Helen Stewart, I've knit that about 2 or 3 times. And so I love lace, but I also love simple lace. But I also really, really love the shawl that I knit, the pie shawl that I knit for my wedding last year. That was super, super satisfying. I love the whole process, although my arms didn't, because I was on a time crunch and they kind of hurt. I don't know that they've even recovered, even though it's been a year. So, what is your most disastrous mistake? Ooh, that's easy. If you go to my Ravelry page, you'll find that I have a sweater named a Heroine, and I think that's actually the name of the pattern. So it's a felted sweater, and I'm a big girl, and for some odd reason I thought it would be genius if I was to knit this sweater and felt it using wool alpaca blend. You guys don't realize that alpaca is pretty heavy, right? First off, felted products, you don't know the finished size. I mean, you can try your hardest, but you know what? It's just gonna go where it's gonna go. And so I knit the size that I thought that I needed to according to the pattern, and then felted it down. And for instance, the sleeve came out like a whole foot past my arm. Like, everything was just horrible about this. I ended up, the whole felting process took me days, because I was hand felting it in my bathroom. Bathroom, what's it called? Bathtub! There we go! It took me days. It stunk my house up to no end. I was so upset by the whole thing. I ended up cutting, still using it, because what I did is I made, I sewed some mittens for all my friends and family. I think it was a couple years later, and I just used that felted fabric to make the inside, so it's super warm on the inside, and then on the outside I use leftover fabric from things like a wool blanket and things like that. So, you know, they're cute, but they're also super warm and lovely, and I hear tell that my friends and family are still using them, or at least some of them are. Or at least they're telling me they are. So that's my most disastrous mistake, which actually was okay in the end, even though I will never, ever, ever make that mistake again. In fact, I don't think I've knit with alpaca since then, because I just can't handle the thought of it. Do I have a favorite place to buy yarn or fiber, either online or local? Okay, so online, pretty much my favorite place, three of my favorite places are Etsy, because I love independent dyers, yarn.com, and knit picks. Then I just found, pardon my reach here, I just found a store in oh god, I've forgotten. A store in Forest Grove in Oregon, and I'm looking it up right now. Forest Grove Yarn Shop. Let's see. The Naughty Lamb in Forest Grove is amazing. They have so many independent dyers and those dyers that are larger than independent dyers, but they're not big box chains. So, but they're not people who just stock Malabrigo or, you know, I can't remember the other ones, but they have really unique stuff, and it's super beautiful, and you really actually feel welcomed and wanted in this store. And they actually want to talk to you about whatever you're knitting on. It's just wonderful. I love, love, love the Naughty Lamb. And so since I'm in Forest Grove once every couple weeks, I usually stop in. Lately, my budget hasn't allowed me to purchase anything from them, but I'm keeping a mental list of what I would like. What is your most used or most loved pattern? So probably my most used pattern is the Fish Lips Kiss Heel for my my regular socks that I just have no pattern. My off the cuff socks. But my, let's see, my most loved pattern, I'm kind of thinking that's the Pebble Beach by Helen Stewart. I love the way she's written the pattern with the percentage system she came up with. It's really a joyful knit. I think those two are my favorite. I keep coming back to them again and again, don't I? Your most dreaded knitting, crocheting, or spinning task. Ooh. I guess it would be weaving in the ends, because I never feel like I do it exactly right. And I always notice that in the end, my ends kind of poke out a little bit after when I finish a project, I weave in the ends, I soak it, and then I block it, and then I cut the ends off. And still, I get these little pokies coming out. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong there, but whenever it comes time for that, I make myself do it as soon as I cast off for the most part. But at the same time, I totally dread doing it because I'm like, I don't ever feel like I do it right. So that's my most dreaded, I think. And my favorite task is right in the middle of everything. I kind of stall out a little bit in the middle of my knitting, and it's mainly because I enjoy it so much. I know that sounds silly, but I do. I enjoy the actual act of knitting, the repetitive, meditative motion of it. And so that to me is very zen. It's a very zen state. So I kind of piece parcel out my time with that. So projects can take a little longer. Sometimes I don't truly enjoy it, but for the most part, especially on socks, I love it. Sometimes on shawls, I don't, especially when the rows get to be a bajillion stitches long. Okay, what is your favorite crafty entertainment? YouTube. Podcasts. I adore podcasts, which is probably one of the reasons why I have one. But I do love, love, love podcasts. So, and especially audio podcasts. I love audio podcasts, especially when I'm driving, because I drive out to the coast at least once a week. And so that's, in one day, that's a good 4 to 5 hours worth of listening time of audio podcasts. Love it. For patterns, do you prefer books, magazines, Ravelry, or would you rather make up your own? I don't want to make up my own anymore. I know that's not my forte. I prefer Ravelry and printing it out. I like looking at books and I like looking at the magazines, but I find I never ever knit from them. So, what's your favorite brand of knitting needles or crochet hooks? And for spinning, what is your favorite wheel? So my favorite wheel for spinning is definitely the e-spinner. If I was still able to treadle, it would be the ladybug. But then again, I have very little experience with other wheels. So my favorite knitting needles are the carbons, Knit Pro carbons. I love those. And I don't have anything for crochet, so there you go. What's your favorite notion or tool? My measuring tapes. Because without these, I would have socks that are always too short and for myself and always too long for everyone else. What is my current favorite project? That would be these socks by Lane Wool, Yawol. Well, because, yeah, that makes sense, because the W's are V's and the J's are wah. So, Yawol. Anyway, this is my favorite project right now. I love the pattern it's coming up. And that is if you watch my latest podcast, you'll know that this is just a recipe sock of mine that I'm using. And I'm probably going to use contrasting toes and heels so that I don't mess up the pattern. Favorite place to knit, crochet, or spin in public? If I go out to eat, I love to knit while I'm either waiting for the food or what have you. I usually get a lot of people talking to me about that then. And if I'm just on my own, if I'm going for a walk and I kind of want a place that I can sit and it's not rainy and cold, I will take my knitting along so I can just sit out in a park somewhere and do that. What is your favorite fiber arts book? I could tell you that, but then I'd have to kill you. No, I'm kidding. Actually, the reason why I'm drawing a blank is because all of my fiber art books are actually boxed up right now, but let's see, I have to go to my Amazon account. 1 second. Amazon, because I just got this even though I ordered it like a bajillion years ago, which I didn't. It was orders. I ordered it like last year and I finally just got it. So let's see here. Orders. Huh. Let's keep looking. I will find it. But you love me just talking like this, don't you? Yes. Maybe I'll just pause it. Oh, no, I found it right when I said I was going to pause it. So, Alternate Stitch Dictionary, 200 Modern Knitting Motifs. Absolutely gorgeous. And the knitting motifs, I gotta knit them. There's one with squirrels, all kinds of things. Okay. Favorite fiber arts books. Do you have any other hobbies? I'm a walker. I'm a writer. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. I try to get into embroidery and needle punch. Still haven't gotten there yet, but I want to. And I'm going to be trying soon paint by numbers. Because I'm not a painter like my mom, but I want to be. If you could meet anyone in the fiber arts community, who would that be? It would be Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel Speaks. And that's so funny because it's the same as Karen from Simplystashless. She wants to meet her. And I would want to meet Paula from the Knitting Pipeline. Those are my two. Yeah. Okay, now we are into rapid fire answers. So, question 1, knit or crochet? Knit. Number 2, weave or spin? Spin. Color or neutrals? Color. Sweater or socks? Socks. Sorry, I would have answered that faster, but I had a little something in my throat. All right, and those are the tags. And those are the questions for the fiber arts tag. And so now it's my turn to tag a few people. So, okay, so who would I want to tag? I want to tag Inna Snit or Chris Loves Wool on Ravelry. I'd like to tag Eva the Charm of It. She's wonderful. And I don't know if she's been tagged yet, but if she has, I'm so sorry. And I'd like to tag the Yarn and You podcast. So ladies, if you would like to partake, use the Fiber Arts tag on your And you can go to Simplystashless at blogspot.com, and you can find the questions on her second to last blog post. All right? Well, thanks everybody, and remember to knit what you love and love what you knit. Take care.